Hi, greetings to my tutor, Mr. Patiban, and my course lead, Dr. Muhammad Hezri. So, my name is David Philip, and today I will be present about my Python mini project, which will be called as Symplectic Currency Converter. So, before I continue, my presentation will consist of four main parts, which is introduction, types of modules, methodology, and finally result and conclusion. Now the first part will be introduction. So as we know, currency converter is an application that helps with the quick and easy conversion of currency. In other words, it helps in converting an amount of one currency to another currency based on the latest exchange rates. So since Python contains a simple program for converting currency in real time by using Forex Python library, it has been chosen as one of the external module for my project apart from Tinker, which is for creating graphical user interface. Now, the second part of my presentation will be materials or modules. There are actually three types of module that I will be using for this project. The first one will be Kinter module. So Kinter module mostly is to create graphical user interface or GUI and include in all standard Python distribution. So this frameworks built into Python library and provide an interface to the TK toolkit, which is a cross-platform collection of graphical control element or widget for building the user interface. So this widget can be used to construct button, menus, data fields, and others, which is important for this project. And finally, this element can be interacted with functionality, method, or data. Now the second module will be Forex Python module. So this module was a free foreign exchange rate and currency conversion. It provides most direct way of getting the currency conversion rate. So this module also has function and parameter that can take input for the required currency code and give result for the conversion. Then finally, this module was the main thing for this project, as it can be seen as a search engine for my Symplectic currency converter project. The third module will be Python idle module. So Python idle or integrated development and learning environment was an application that helps me in writing code more efficiently. It was a very bare bones, which make it perfect for beginner programmer. And finally, it provides several useful features such as basic syntax, highlighting, code completion, and auto indentation. Next, we move on to the method or methodology. So there are total 7 steps that are needed in creating this project, which is the first one will be importing necessary Python libraries. Now, as we can see on my Python idle application, the first step is importing libraries for currency converter project. There are several modules that need to be imported in order to complete this Python coding. So the first one will be Kinter library. which will be used for creating the GUI. The next one will be a Kinter message box that will help to display message box in Python. Then the third one is the Forex converter, Forex Python converter, which helps import the currency rate. Then the second step will be creating a GUI window for the project. So on this step, I will be given titles for the GUI window. So in this case, the title given was a symptomatic currency converter. Then then the next thing will be set on the size of the GUI window, and then the background color chose was dark turquoise. For the root resizable function, this one is to control the size of the GUI window. So in this case, it was 0, 0 means that once we run this code, we are unable to change the size of the GUI window. Then after we creating a GUI window, the next step will be creating and placing all the labels for the GUI itself. So in this case, there are one head label and four other labels that needed for this project. As we can see, all the labels, the head labels will be symptomatic currency converter, and other four will be labeled as amount, from currency, to currency, and converted amount. So we can see all these labels once we run this code. Then the next step will be declaring and initializing variables. So there will be two variables that need to be created for this project. So both variables were set into Kinter string var and then initialized as currency. After we done all the variables, we move on to the fifth step, which is defining function for real-time currency conversion. So on this step, we are labeling from currency as variable 1 to currency as variable 2, and then we by using the syntax if, elif, and else statement to provide some decision making for the program. For example, if amount 1, then from currency and to currency has been filled, so the program will run and the outcome will be insert on the amount to fill box, meaning that if all the things have been filled up, then the program will run the conversion and we will get the outcome on the amount to fill. For the clearing, all the data entered by user is to clear the amount that has been filled, meaning that reset all the amount and from currency and to currency box. Now for the Kinter message box that helps to provide message in this Python program, if let's say the amount one field uh, it was still empty. uh, the the program will throw out message error amount not enter. So it helps to shows to it helps to guide user to fill all the entire box. The six steps will be currency option list. So on this step will be list out all the currency that will be used for this project. So in this case, I'll be use Malaysian ringgit, MYR, USD, CAD, Euro, GBP, and JPY. So all these currency will be displayed at the selected menu once we run this code. So now on to the final step of the coding, which is fetching all the data. So as we can see here, from currency option and to currency option, both following the currency code list. So there will be two buttons when we run this code. The first one will be labeled as convert, which will do the conversion, and then the next one will be clear all, which will be clear all the data that has been input. Then finally, root main loop is final command to run the code. And now we move on to the final stage of my presentation, which is result and discussion. So as we can see here, it's the final outcome of the GUI once we run the code. So all the head labels and labels will be following our command, and then now we can start to do some of the currency conversion. So as we can see on this figure, so I've done some of the currency conversion between Malaysian ringgit to US dollars and Malaysian ringgit to Great Britain pound. So as we can see, when performing this conversion, we know that there's 1 ringgit was equal to 0.2246 US dollar. So when doing this conversion, there will no error from out, so it was a success project. But as to show the syntax if, elif, and else commands are working, so I let the amount box to be empty and not choose any of the currency list. Then I try to do the conversion and the message box will prompt out. So this means that those amount currency and from currency and to currency box really need to be filled in to make the conversion. And finally, conclusion. So in summary, Symptomatic Currency Converter was a successful project and it was very fun to build using Python. So I've learned so much things such as using Tkinter to create GUI and added implementation into it. Apart from that, I learned on using Forex Python conversion for performing the real-time currency conversion, and by creating this project I'll be able to enhance my knowledge and skills on more on Python programming. So I think that's all for my presentation. Thank you.